Hi guys, and welcome back today. For today's session, we're solving this question number 3 of this exam here. So question number 3A, so let's go to our Visual Studio. So 3A, so a program stores an array of integers and search the array for a particular value. The array of integer number array stores the following data in the given order. So number array is the name of the variable, is the name of the array variable, and this is the list of integer. So the array is declared and initialized local to the main program. Write code to declare and initialize the array. So we'll just say number array is equal to the list of numbers. So that will be 100, 85, 644, 85, 644, 22, 15, 81, 22, 15, 81. So that is the end of question 3A. It's as simple as that. Just initialize and declare and initialize the array. So you save your program and copy it to your evidence doc. So the next thing, question 3BI. So what are we asked to do? The following recursive pseudocode function sorts the array into ascending order using an insertion sort and returns the sorted array. So this pseudocode will sort this array and return the sorted array. We are asked to write the program code for the pseudocode. So when you have something like this, you don't need to start reading and trying to understand like how does it work. I don't understand pseudocode, or you understand the pseudocode. When you see something like this, a pseudocode, and you are asked to write the program code for a pseudocode, it just means convert the pseudocode to Python the way it is written. So don't try and write something else than deciding that, oh, I know how to write it better than this. No, just write it the way it is written. Okay, so let's write that. Of course, we don't declare in Python, so we start with the function. Okay, so to write the function, so write def. The name of the function is recursive insertion. So recursive insertion. So does it have parameter? Yes. Integer array is a parameter. Integer array. So what other parameter does it have? Number elements. So these are the two parameters. Other array of integer, these are just pseudocode syntax, so we don't use that in Python. So if number element is less than or equal to 1, so write if number element is less than or equal to 1, okay, return what? Return integer array. Return integer array. It's as simple as that. That's all. So we just write it line by line. Okay. So else it's saying call recursive insertion. So calling, because just in Python we just write recursive insertion. So recursive insertion, and you pass the parameter integer array number of elements minus 1, integer array number elements minus 1. Okay, so integer array number element minus 1. So the next thing is last item. So last item is equal to integer array number elements minus 1. Integer array of number elements minus 1. So just write it the way it is written, but write it in Python. That is just it. Check item is equal to number elements minus 2. So check item is equal to number elements minus 2. So that is the end of this if function. So you just get out of the if function. So indentation will show that it's out of the if function. So the next thing, loop again is equal to true. So just type the way it's written. Okay. So loop again is equal to true. If check item is less than 0, if check item is less than 0, okay, loop again is equal to false. Loop again is equal to false. I hope you understand. It's as simple as that. Else, else, so we stop there. Yeah, else if integer array check item, if integer array check item, okay, if integer array check item is less than, so we are here, is less than last item, is less than last item, okay. So if this is less than this, then loop again is equal to false. So loop again is equal to false. So just write in Python, that is all. So that is the end of the if function. So we are out of the if. We're out of this if function, right? It's just one if function inside the else function. Then out of the else function. So while loop again, while loop again, integer array of check item plus 1. You have to be careful, the line is long, so that you don't write the wrong thing. Check item plus 1, check item plus 1, integer item check item plus 1 is equal to integer array check item, integer array check item. It's just as simple as this. Just type in Python. So check item is equal to check item minus 1. Check item is equal to check item minus 1. So if check item is less than 0, is it in the while function? Yes, it is in the while function. If check item is less than 0, then we say loop again is equal to false. Loop again is equal to false. So if check item is then loop again is equal to false, else else if, I made a mistake. So it should be if, because it is else if. So in Python, you join it together and that will be else if. Okay. So I think I made a same mistake here. So this is else if. So let me just make it if. Okay, if. Then I correct this indentation. So that is all. So I corrected the mistake. So if integer array check item, integer array check item, if integer is less than last item. Okay, we are here. Is less than last item. Loop again is equal to false. Loop again is equal to false. Okay, so that is the end of the if statement. That's the end of the if statement. That is the end of the while. I just moved my indentation. Then I say integer array check item plus 1. Integer array check item plus 1 is equal to last item. Last item. Then return integer array. Return integer array. And that is the end of the function. That is all. So we just answered question 3bi. So that is what is expected of us. Just convert the pseudocode to what? To Python. So 3bii. Now, So 3bii, 3bii. I want to comment this out. Yeah. So it says that amend the program to the program code is just anything outside, just like we have number array. A program code is just something, the code that is not in the function, that is just alone here. So we are asked to call recursive insertion. So let's call recursive insertion, the function recursive insertion. Don't forget you have to pass some arguments. So to call with the initialize number array, remember the number array that has been initialized. So I pass it in as an argument, number array. How many parameters does it need? 2. And with initialize array, number array, and number of elements as parameter. So number of elements of the array as parameter. And the number of elements of the array is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can write 7, or I can also write length of number array. Both is correct, okay? Because the array has been given to us. If the array was not given to us, then we would have written length of number array. But if you write both here, it is still correct, okay? So don't forget that this function is returning something, right? It's returning is returning an item. So because it's returning an item, so let me save it to a variable, like say variable is equal to this. That means whatever that is returned should be saved in this var, since it was not, the name of the variable was not given to us in the question. So we can say recursive function number array comma 7 is equal to var. So whatever is returned will be saved in that variable. Output the word recursive, then we say print. Output means print the word recursive. Okay. Output the word recursive. Output the content of the returned array, then variable. Is as simple as that. So just say variable is equal to this recursive comma variable. So I hope this is understood. So if you have any question, just put it in the comments. So for 3bii, I say text your program. So let's test our program. You can see recursive, then the array. So the array is now sorted. You can see 1, 8, 15, 22. So the array is now sorted. So test your program, take a screenshot and copy and paste. So you know what to do. Just screenshot the output and paste it in your evidence document. Now question 3c. So let's move forward to question 3c. Question 3c. Question 3c. So the function recursive insertion can be changed to use iteration instead of recursion. Remember I explained iteration in the previous video, the relationship between iteration and recursion, and how iteration and recursion can be used. So this question is now saying that recursive function is needed to be changed into what? Into use of what? Of iteration instead of using recursive function. So CI says write program code for the function iterative insertion. Okay, then we say def iterative insertion instead of what? Instead of recursive, to perform what? To perform the same process, to perform the same thing as recursive, but using iteration instead of what? Instead of recursion. So you are not expected to write the code like start thinking of writing the code. You go back to the code that was given to you, the pseudocode that was given to you. Okay. So instead of recursive, we are writing for what? For iteration. So this is now our function. For this function, of course, we require two parameters that are required to be passed, which are what? Integer array and number element. So we pass the parameter integer array number element as required by. So we'll go back and just write this same function, but instead of using recursive, we use what? We use iterative. Okay, good. So this base case is saying if number of elements is less than or equal to 1. That means this will be done if the number is more than 1 or 1, either 1 or more than 1, that is 1 and above. So else, then this is executed. That means that if this condition is true, this is returned. If it is false, this is always returned. Okay. Then why don't I just write a while loop? It depends on how you think about writing your code. So you can use a for or while loop. Okay. So I am not sure if I should use a for loop because I understand the base case, that is the starting point, but I don't understand the end point. As a student in the exam, I don't understand the endpoint. So if I look at this, the while loop will be easier for me to use and saying that this code should run while number element is not equal to 1. That is, it is less than 1. Because this will only run, this else will only run if number of elements is what? Is not less than 1. I hope you understand that. So yes, if it is not less than 1, because if it is less than 1, it quits the function. So this will only run while number of elements is what? Is not less than 1. So that means while number elements is greater than 0. I hope you understand that. So that is how you interpret this. Because this is saying if number element is less than or equal to 1, that is if it is 0, 1, if it is 0, less than or equal to 1, that is if it is 0 or 1, it returns this. Else it returns this. So to write our pseudocode now, then we'll go back here and write that. So we say while the number element is what? Is greater than 0. So that is the condition at which this will run. Because when it was less than or equal to 1, it ends the function. So it will only run when it is greater than 1. I hope you understand. Or sorry, greater than 0. Greater than 0 means 1 and above. Okay. So instead of calling the recursive function, we don't call the recursive function in this case. So we just go to this, that last item is equal to integer array number of elements minus 1. Okay. So the recursive function will not be called. So we just say last element is equal to integer array of what? Of number of elements minus 1. Okay. Now after this, we go to the next line. Check item is equal to number elements minus 2. Check item is equal to number elements minus 2. Number elements minus 2. So I think it's number elements. Number elements. Okay. Number elements minus 2. According to the question, number elements. Okay. Now, the next thing, then loop again is equal to true. Then loop again is equal to true. So some guys may be confused, like loop again is outside of this loop of else. So why am I putting it in the while loop? Yes, it have to be in the while loop. This means that if this is not true, return means quit this function. That is what it means. So it won't even get to this point. Okay. So this point will only be executed if this is true. That is what it means. Because this will be executed, then coming back to this line of code. So that is the reason why I have to write it within the while function. I hope you understand that. So loop again is equal to true. Then I say if, then the next thing, if check item is less than 0, so indirectly I have all this again. Okay, I have all these again back. So let me just copy everything. I don't need to retype everything. Okay, because the only thing left now is the indentation. That I have to work with the indentation. So I have to follow my code to work with the indentation. So I'm at loop again is equal to true. Then if check item is less than 0, if check item is less than 0, loop again is equal to false. So the indentation loop again is equal to false. Okay. Else if, just adjust the indentation. Loop again is equal to true. Okay. While loop again, then while loop again, it will be in the while loop as well. Integer check item plus 1. So that takes its indentation. Then check item is equal to check item minus 1. That also takes the indentation. Then if check item is equal to 0, I move it. Everything is still in the while loop. Don't forget, all this is in the while loop. So if check item is less than 0, then loop again is false. Else if if integer check item is less than last item, then loop again is false. Okay, loop again is false. Then I have, then that is the end of the this while loop. Okay, this while loop is now done. Then the next thing, integer array, so it stays in the outside while loop. Okay, it stays in this while loop, then return. So that is all. So you've converted the code to an iterative function without the use of recursive function. It's as simple as that. I hope this is understood. If you have any challenge or any comment or any problem, just write it in the comments, then I will reply you. So this is 3CI. Okay, 3CI. Now for 3CII, so I'm seeing an error here. Last item is underlined. So I'm trying to find where I made a mistake. I can see it here. Instead of last item, I wrote last early, something like that. So it should be last item. Okay. So now the error is cleared because it was last item is equal to integer array number of elements minus 1. So that was the mistake I made there. So let's move to the next thing, which is CII. Question CII. Okay. Question 3, CII. So the question is, amend the main program. So where is the main program? Remember, this is the main program, right? So let me bring it down here. 3CII. I brought it down. It says amend the main program to call recursive insertion. Yeah. Oh, is that correct? No. That was question 3. Okay, this is 3CII. It says write code to amend the main program to also call iterative insertion. So we need to call iterative insertion. I need to bring it down because iterative needs to be called, so it needs to be called after the function is written, or else it will write not found. So we need to call iterative insertion. So we are returning something, so I can put it in a variable and say iterative insertion. Then I'm asked to pass what? Number array as parameter, called until with the original initialized number array. So number array, okay, as parameter. And don't forget this requires 2 parameters, so I still need to add 7 or write length of number array. So the question now says that output the word iterative, then print iterative Okay, and what? And content of the returned array. So what is the content of the returned array? VAR, because that is the value that was returned from the function. Okay, so save your work, copy to your evidence document, now test your program and take a screenshot of the output. So let's test this program now. So can you see both function have sorted our list, or the list we declared. Okay, so which means we are fine. So it's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. So question D. Okay, the next question, question 3D. So question 3D said the recursive function binary search takes parameters. So you know what binary search is. I've explained that in one of the videos previously. But now binary search will now be written as a recursive function and not the way we wrote it in the previous question. So let's declare binary search as a function. So let's write it as a function. So that becomes question 3D. So we say DEF binary search. Okay. For this binary search, so we are told that it takes parameter integer array. It takes a parameter integer array. It takes first according to the question, last to find. So let's try and read the description of each of these variables so that we know what they are doing. So first, our integer array is the array of integer. First in the index of the first element in the array, that is first, which is what we wrote here. So last is the index of the last element of the array. Then to find is an integer to search for in the array. Okay. So now, so the function uses recursion to perform binary search to find in integer. So we need to find in the integer array. The function returns the index where to find is stored, or return -1 if to find is not in the array. So write program code for recursive function binary search. So you remember that for recursive function, the most important thing is the first thing that is needed to be determined, which is what? Which is the base case. Okay, so the base case is needed to be determined. So we must know the base case. So when the base case is known, then we find the what? The recursive case. The recursive case means when the what? When the function is what? Is recalled with the parameter pass. Okay, the recursive case. So how do we determine the base case now? Now let's go back to the question. Well, it is not in the question, but can you remember from the previous videos I have uploaded, I said binary search means when you have some arrays of, let's say, A, B, C, D, E, F. So the first thing is to divide by 2. Can you remember? Then I said mid is equal to what? Is equal to the lower plus upper divided by 2. But in this question, the lower has been given as what? As first. So that will be, so mid is equal to first plus what? Plus last, divide floor division by 2. If you don't understand how I got this made, you need to go to the first video so that you see, I've explained it in details how this is done and the idea behind binary search. So I've explained everything step by step. So you need to go back to that video, understand it, then come back here to solve this problem. I hope you understand that. So if the target, that is if the item we want to find is not equal to made, you remember we search to the right or we search to the left. So that means if we search to the right, if let's assume this is the mid value, okay, if the value is not this value, if what we want to find is not equal to this value, then we search to the right, isn't it? Then when we're searching to the right, that means that the lower, that is the first, will be equal to mid plus 1. Can you remember? And if we are searching to the left, that means this number becomes the last, which I called the upper in the previous video. So that means the last is equal to mid minus 1. So this is to the right and this is to the left. So if you don't understand what this right and left means, so you need to go back to the first video that I made where a question was solved using binary search. So in that video, I explained all the details and the step by step of writing the code for binary search. It's well explained in that video. So let's go back to Visual Studio Code and write our code to implement that. But we haven't determined the base case. What is the base case? So base case is that point where the binary search exists the function. Can you remember after everything has been searched? So everything will be the array would be thoroughly and will be searched totally if what? If the first, that is the lower bound, is now equal to the what? Is equal to last. That is when the lower bound is now equal to, when the lower bound is here, then we say the array is fully searched, okay? Or if this is the upper bound and this is the lower bound, when we're finding the mid value, if this is the mid value and the item you want to find is not in the mid value, we go to the right, then this becomes lower bound, isn't it? If it's so, this will become the limit value. If this is still not the item you find, you still go to the right, right? When you get to the right, the lower bound is now equal to upper bound. Or if this is the mid value and the item is not with the mid value, you go to the left, right? Then this becomes the upper bound. Is that understood? So if this is the mid value and the item is not equal to that means this will be the lower bound. Is that understood? So that means that this will continue to execute in as much that first is equal to last. But when first is no longer equal to last, maybe greater than last, then we say that the array has been fully searched. Is that understood? So that means this is our base case when first is greater than last. So that becomes our base case. So if you don't understand, go to the first video and check how it was explained. Okay. So let's write our code to implement that. So we say that our first case is if first is what? Is greater than what? Than last. So that means the whole item has been searched. Is that understood? So at this point, we'll return -1. Okay. So else means if the first is not yet equal to last, if you are still finding. So what is the first thing? Find the mid. Okay, so we find the mid index. So where the mid index is equal to first plus last floor divided by 2. If you can't remember this, go to the first video. I already explained everything in details, the step by step. What is first plus last? Why are we dividing? Why are we finding the floor division by 2? Why are we finding the mid? Everything has been explained in the first video. Okay, that was before this, the question 1 of 9618 1943. It's there in the first video. So this is the mid index. So now that the mid index is now determined, so we check if to find the number we're finding is equal to the middle item in the array. So integer array mid. Okay, so we want to check if that item is this, if it's equal. So if it is equal, we'll return the index. Okay, we'll return the index where it was found. So, but what if it is not equal? So let's check to the right. So we say if to find is what? Greater than integer array of what? Of mid. If it is greater than the mid value, so that means that, so we can use L if, okay. So that means it tends towards the right. Okay, whatever we're finding is towards the right. So we find the value in the right part of what? Of the array. Is that understood? So in this case, then we say first is equal to mid plus 1, right? Then we'll call the recursive function because we want it to go back and search the array. Is that understood? Then we'll call binary search of what? Of integer. We want it to call back the function on the array. Now that the value of mid is now different. So binary search integer array, then first, okay, last, and what? And to find. I hope this is understood. So everything has been explained in the first video. Then we return, then we return, yeah, we return this. Now we're returning, let me check. So yes, we return binary search. So we return whatever this function, or the result of this function, okay? So the what if the item we're finding does not tend towards the right? What if it tends towards the left? So we still need to what? To find. If it is less than integer array of what? Of mid. Okay. So that means that last is equal to mid minus 1. Okay. According to our illustration, last is mid minus 1, which means it tends towards the left. It's already explained in the first video there. So that means we now call the function now as binary search of what? Of integer array, then first, last, and to find. I hope this is well understood. So we are done with that function. So let's go to the question. So the next question says, write program code to amend the program. Write program to amend the main program. So we'll go back to the main program to amend. So remember, this was our main program. Okay. Yes. Control X. So we'll bring it down here after the function. So to amend our main program, call binary search. So we need to call binary search. So that is binary search with the sorted array, passed as what? As one of the parameter. So what is the sorted array? The sorted array is VAR. Can you remember? So with the sorted array passed, and what is the next thing? The sorted array and integer 644 as search value. 644 as search value. But remember that according to this, we need first as well, right? Where first is equal to what? Is equal to the first index of the array, isn't it? So we can say first, yeah, I can write it inside there and say first, okay, last, and what? And 644 as the search value, 644. I hope you understand that. So we are passing the parameter as we have written in the function, okay? So var, which is now the parameter from the sorted array, first, last. So first is the first index of what? Of the array. So we say first is equal to First is equal to VAR 0. No, first is the index, so first is equal to 0. Okay, and last is equal to the last element in the what? In the array. So last should be equal to that will be length of VAR, yes, minus 1. I hope this is understood. So that will be the value for last. Oh, sorry, we are not writing this as a function. We are calling the function, right? So we're calling the function, and this function returns something, right? So that means I need to write this outside, like declare the value for first and the value for last before the function is called. I hope you understand that. So the question is saying call binary search. So that was a mistake. I just called the binary search. So the name of the array first, last, and 644. Okay, it will return a value. Can you remember? So that means that I need to save this to a variable because it will return a value. So remember, we are asked to return the index, right? So that means that we say index is equal to, so whatever is returned by this function will be saved in index. So remember, index can return a value or minus 1, right? Then we say if, because it says output not found if that value is not found. So we say if index is equal to minus 1, then we say print, okay, print the value 644 is not found. I hope you understand this. So else, then it says output the index if it is found. So else, if it is not minus 1, so we say print f 644 is found in index index. So I hope this is understood. In index. So this outputs the index where it is found. So this tells us that 644 is not found, or it outputs the index. So we save, then we test our program. So let's do that now. So when we test our program, what does it say? 644 is found in index 6, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So found is as simple as that. Okay, and that is the end of that question. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the comments. If you find it difficult to understand binary search, go to the first video. The first video is, so I'll type in the link to the first video so that you can click on it, see the video on how to write code on binary search. There I explain binary search step by step and everything you need to know about binary search. Thank you. If you learned from this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.